Faith Today TV is here to make your brand outstanding. Worry not on where to advertise your business or your product. Call us on 0114 777 000 or email us on info@faithtodaytv.co.ke.
Mountain Moving Faith. This is my latest book. And if you want to learn how you can move mountains, life has many mountains. While this journey, you will encounter mountains and you wonder, how can I move mountains? This is a book to read. And it took me time to research, to pray, and to wait on God and look at the scriptures and what Jesus talked about moving mountains. And this book is quite a story, it's quite an inspiration. It is quite something that will change your life. So order your copy today. We can send it to you wherever you are in this country. We will be able to send this book to you on Mountain Moving Faith. Call that number or send a message and our team will be able to ship it to you wherever you are. There's a book to read. You can also buy for your friend, for a family as a gift. And I have no doubt they will thank you and they will be always thankful for what you have done for them. So God bless you as you read this book, Mountain Moving Faith.
On how to run your business. For the last few episodes, we've been discussing about personal financial management, and I believe this not only affects the way you handle personal finance, but it has got an axis and a connection to even how you handle your business finance. Personal financial discipline is quite key for you to be able to prosper. And today we have our guest who's now become so familiar to us, giving us very interesting tips, Dr. Washington Kahoro. Washington, welcome to this program today. And you can introduce yourself to the viewer who is seeing you for the first time today.
Thank you, Dr. Mungai. My name is Dr. Washington Kahoro. As earlier introduced, I'm very happy to be here. I'm a personal financial coach. I do this gladly, where I share my personal experiences and also pick experiences from other people so as to sharpen us all so that we can become better personal financial managers of our monies. Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Welcome, Dr. Kahoro. What are we discussing today?
Yeah, today we will be looking at the aspects of savings, investments, and retirement planning, which is a very important aspect in our lives. I think in the last 2 episodes or thereabout, we have delved quite a bit into the importance of savings. And so today we shall be looking at a bit of it with depth, see what opportunities we have for savings and investments and how to prepare for retirement.
So welcome very much. That sounds very interesting. My viewer, in case you have any question on savings, investment, and retirement, please prepare those questions and you can send them to the number that is appearing on your screen right now, and we'll address those questions in the second part of this program. We really want to interact with you because this program is here for you to address your concerns, to help you and equip you in the way that you can be able to handle your personal finance. In case you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, please like, share, and comment. In case you're watching us on YouTube, please also remember to subscribe to Faith Today Television. So again, we are also available on the television Faith Today Television, please watch, tag a friend, and let them come and listen to this discussion. And also have my co-host, Enoch. Enoch, welcome to the program this morning. You can introduce yourself again to the viewer.
Sure. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Dr. Washington, for coming back on this show. I'm very excited. I also want to welcome our viewers. Thank you so much for following us up to this time. You can agree we've had a good time with Dr. Washington, breaking down personal financial management. And I believe for the young people, this is a very important platform. Some of the information we've gotten about personal financial management is really scanty. We don't have the details. And now having it from an expert from the Kingdom Business Network is very, very fundamental. I tell you this for a fact, your life can't remain the same. And this year of breaking all barriers, it's important that you stay glued to this screen and learn how to, grow your income. He gave us a background about savings and then how to grow your income. That is something that we are not really getting so much in the outside world out there. And much more importantly, to also inform our prayer lives. This is a very important discussion because we all learned that there is a right way to pray and the wrong way to pray. Now, having such tips are going to so much inform our prayer lives. This year, for sure, you must break barriers. You must get to the next financial level. I'm very excited.
Wonderful.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. Sure. I believe that financial management is quite key to financial well-being and the prosperity of an individual. Does it have a connection to business? How you handle your business issues? Does it have a connection with your personal financial discipline and management?
Precisely, yes, Dr. How you handle your finances, how you behave with your money has a direct relationship with the quality of life you live, with how you're able to handle other people, and so on and so forth. And so, even when you look at the scriptures, for example, you will see Jesus giving the example of the talents. And Jesus would say that one person was given a talent, another one was given 5, another one was given 10. And you will see at the end that Jesus actually expected that you would do something with the monies that he has given us. If I could just refresh you, the individual who was given 1 talent did not do anything. He actually, he or she picked the talent and just hid it somewhere, and with a very bad attitude. The scripture would say, he says that I know that my master will want to reap where he has not sown. He has not sown. So, and there are people with attitudes. They will say, my money is too little, so there is nothing I can do with it. God just gave me a small job. So, I'm just surviving. I want to survive. And then, my die is cast and all that. But then we also see a good example of these 2 other individuals in the same parable. One who was given 5 talents and worked very hard, doubled the talents to 10, and another one was given 10 and doubled them. And when we see that in the end, the master, when he comes in Jesus' example, that they were both given to actually rule over cities, and the one who had hidden had theirs taken away and given to the next. So I think the learning is just like we are learning today, is that God gives us finances, he gives us opportunities, God gives us resources so that we can multiply them.
And I think when you look at that story, the person who had 1 talent, the attitude was already wrong.
Yes.
Even before he got the 1 talent. So when he got the 1 talent, it's not that he developed a new attitude. He already had a wrong attitude.
That's it.
And I think when you're talking about personal finance, is we want to change the thinking, the attitude of the people.
Yeah.
Even when they still have very little, or where they are, in the level they are in, if they have the right attitude, then when the opportunity comes, then they can be able to build on that.
You're right. In fact, you realize that, Terry, that God wants to first, God wants us to first work on our attitudes. And you will see even in a different place, the scripture says that God looks at the intents of the heart. So it is a good place to start. Where if you're trusting God for growth, because that is what we shall be talking about today, if you're trusting God for resourcefulness, increase and all that, then we really work on the area of our attitudes. How do we look at money? How do we look at opportunities? Are jobs a bother to us? If they are a bother to us, then we have no chance of being helped at those jobs. And every time you appreciate what God has given you, then that particular thing appreciates. Yeah, when you appreciate what God has given you, that particular thing appreciates in value, which is a very good place to be at, where we can have the power to add, where we can have power to multiply what God has given us. Yes.
What's your thought, Enoch, on this?
Well, I am very fond of this concept. Bishop Peter always says, you can never go more than you're thinking. You can't go farther than you're thinking. And it's also true in the scriptures when the Bible says, is it Proverbs, that as a man thinketh, so is he. So the way of the perceptions and the way of thinking, I believe having such discussions as believers, it also helps us ground our thought process and align it with our prayer lives. And also it communicates also to how we deal with our finances and business. So I believe I can't wait to hear how, to fashion my thought process in this discussion.
Okay.
Yes.
So Dr. Washington, why is it important to have both a savings and investment plan? And what is the key differences between the two?
All right. Thank you, Dr. So why is it important to have a savings and an investment? And what's the difference? So we will start first with just a little bit of a layman's definition of the savings and the term and investment terms. So saving is to put aside. So it starts with the planning, like we talked about in the last episode. So in my budgeting, because I encouraged all of us to appreciate and embrace budgeting. So we said in that planning of how we are going to spend the finances that God has given us, it is good that you put in savings. So savings is to put aside. So I earn 50,000 shillings, I put aside 5,000. So that 5,000 shillings is my savings. You can also have accumulated savings, where, for example, some people will take a saving with a circle. For example, say every month I'll have 5,000 checked off my pay. Cumulatively then, at the end of the year, it is 60,000 shillings. So you cannot say that is my investment. No. It is actually my saving. So it's what you put aside very deliberately. And I must say very deliberately, because you never save by chance. If you just put aside money without thinking about it, then the same way you will go back to the same money. And that is why we like to encourage our viewers today that when you are planning to save in a place where it is not easy to pull out that money. Save in a circle so that it is a process if you have to get out that money. Save in other avenues that are now available, whether it is going to be through retirement savings and so on and so forth. We shall be delving into that a little later. Then we have the aspect of investment. So when we put our savings to work so that our savings can generate extra income for us, then we say we have invested. So investment is a very important aspect, growing out of the savings. And there are many opportunities that we can invest in while we are starting, while probably we are in the middle of it, or even when we have really excelled. There are many opportunities that we shall be looking at. So basically those are the two differences, looking at putting aside, and then what do you do with what you have put aside, that is investment.
Let me ask you a question. Maybe a viewer is struggling with the question. If you have some money and you put it in a fixed deposit account,
Yes.
that means it's earning something at the end of the year. Is that a saving? Is that an investment?
That is an investment.
Okay.
Anything that you have put aside that is generating another income, another passive income, or even an active income, that is an investment.
So then would I be right to say a saving is when you just put money somewhere and that money is not bearing any interest?
Precisely. So when you have determined in your heart that from today, moving forward, I'll be saving 1,000 shillings in a merry-go-round. I'll be saving 5,000 shillings in another chama. I'll be saving 5,000 shillings in another team that you have come together and all that. So that is about savings. When that money now starts working for you, and I will take just an example like you have. We have talked about you putting it in a fixed deposit account. Is it earning you something? Yes, that is an investment. So you have turned your savings into an investment. And this is, you would have like a roadmap. For example, you say, I want to save in a circle 5,000 shillings for the next 1 year. So for the next 1 year then, you shall be looking at a savings of 60,000. And now say, out of these 60,000 shillings, I come together with Dr. Mungai and Enoch, and we pull our resources that we have saved together, combined 180,000 shillings, and we go to Kamulu or wherever else and buy a plot. In a year, we'll have this plot appreciating in value to say 200,000 shillings or 250 or whatever amount it is. So then we will have said, out of our savings, it has enabled us to gain an investment, which is a plot of land.
So if I hear you correctly, you are simply saying that people need to save money. But after saving money, they must think about how to put their money to work. And that's how they'll be converting the savings into an investment.
You're right. Without saving, you cannot invest. There are only very few opportunities of people who are able to invest without savings. Say somebody has an inheritance from a parent or from whichever other source, or you have been given a free hand in business. You know, somebody says, "Come join me up because you have this skill set," and so on and so forth. So, so then you become a beneficiary of something that had been a savings for somebody else. But for most of the people, you will find that they will start with a savings, and those are the people that particularly we are looking at today. People who do not have that advantage of a very serious foundation financially in terms of resources and all that, that it has to start with you. So how do we start that journey then of saving, and how do we convert your savings then, or how do we grow your savings into investment?
And you've led us to a very interesting field that I want us to discuss area. Somebody has a little amount of money. Tell us, how do they start investing? And can you give us some examples of cases, you don't have to mention names,
Yes,
of people who started from the bottom, as it were, and today they made it big, and they started with small amount of money?
Good, thank you, Daktari. I have I'll give you my personal example, and I'll also pick another example. So I have a friend of mine who I met not too long ago, and we had a discussion, and he tells me, Washington, I have become a farmer, and I just, he's a great friend, so we delve into that engagement, and he tells me that he started by saving very little money. He was actually saving 850 shillings in a month to start with. 850 shillings. And then he grew that saving. So number one important aspect is that you also have to grow your aspect of saving. So you can start where you are, but do not remain there for the next 5 years. Do not remain there for the next 10 years. As your income grows, so should your savings. And so here he is starting at 850 shillings and then growing on to saving even 10,000 shillings by the time he got to 5 years at work. So he tells me that when he hit 5 years, he had saved about 120,000 shillings. So he took a loan which was provided for 3 times. That was 360,000 shillings. He went to a place in Mount Kenya, hired out some piece of land where they grow pineapples. And he did invest 1 acre for 1 acre of pineapple, having done everything that there needs to be done, tilling and the buying of seedlings and everything. He was able to do 2 acres completely with the 360,000 shillings. So he was able to till the land, pay for the deposit for 7 years. 7 years, you can imagine, for 2 acres, and then bought the seedlings and put them down. Lo and behold, it takes about 2 years. We are saying we are taking a practical example today. So it takes about 2 years to have the pineapples give you first fruits. And so after the first 2 years, and those who are doing pineapple farming will actually attest to this, he had a bumper harvest. And he told me out of his first season of harvesting, he was able actually to get the 360,000 shillings. Thereabouts, about 360 to 400,000 shillings out of the first season. And he had the shamba, he had the plot for another 7 years.
Wow.
So you can imagine, it starts with a small savings of 850 shillings, growing it to 10,000 in 5 years. So we are saying you don't have to kill yourself trying to save all that you have now. You can have a plan of savings running for a period of time. So this one takes about 5 years, is able to accumulate 120,000, goes to the circle, get a loan, get some guarantors, 360,000 shillings, puts it down, and God blesses the work of his hands. And there he is, his first harvest after 2 years, 24 months. It gives him the between 360 and 400,000 shillings, and that was money that would now be coming every other year, even as the fruits. In every year, really, you'd expect that you'd be growing, you'd be harvesting more times. Yes, so that is a practical example. I want to give you another example. So some friends and I, 7 of us, we were in college together. So we said once we started working and could afford to save some little money, so we started saving 7,000 shillings every month. So it's not really a lot of money, but then it is good money. 7,000 shillings per person. So every month we would save 49,000 shillings, and every 6th month we would top up with 100,000. So it was a lot of work. Yeah, so a lot of sacrificing. 7,000 every month, and then at the end of the 6 months, an additional 100,000 from the 7 of us. So the 7 of us, after 6 months, would give 420,000 shillings, and then there is this accumulation of approximately 50,000 shillings. For 6 months, that's 360,000 shillings, plus the 420, we're getting to about 500,000. And so what we did, from one of us who was experienced in that, we would go out, rent out dilapidated houses in the upmarket. You go to some places like Westlands, Milimani. So we would get a dilapidated house that is probably being rented out for about 70,000 shillings. So we go pay upfront, and that we started after 2 years. We go pay upfront for that rent that is required, 70,000 shillings, and probably pay for 6 months. That's 420. So we would spend our savings to renovate that house to a point where we would now even be able to ask for double or triple of the rental that is now for the new incoming tenant. And that really gave us a serious edge. Yeah, and I remember actually something very phenomenal. There is one that we had a tenant paying 65,000 shillings in a month, and when we renovated, because we did a very good job, superb, changed the roofing and put some very nice interior, we were able to give it for 210,000 shillings in Westlands. And so you would find with the 210,000 shillings in 6 months, we have already being able to recoup our investment, and we would get tenures of minimum 2 years. So certainly in 2 years we would have recovered our investment. So you can see small beginnings that can land you to great earnings. Yes.
Yeah, Enoch, there's something Daktari has just said, and I want you to pick it up. God blesses the work of your hands.
Yes.
What does that mean? Because I know there are some people in church and they are waiting for miracle money.
Yes, yes.
Does miracle money exist, or should God bless the work of your hands? That means you should be doing something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's a good question. And I think we cannot override the principle, the scriptures. When God says he blesses the works of your hands, he is serious. He means it. So if you want to override the principle, then you may not get the returns. And I believe that is why this discussion is very, very key. You know, so God is also a mathematician. I want to learn that. Because from all your earnings, he collects 10%.
Yes.
He communicates in percentages.
Yes.
And he talked about that, the story of the talents. You realize those who came up with the results, there was no one who did more than the other. When you look at the returns, in percentage-wise, it was 100%.
Yes.
They had these returns. So I think when through the discussion we are having, I am learning that a young person needs to know that as you start this journey of saving, you know, you are not like stuck on one figure, like you say 850.
Yes.
I love when you talk those small terms because it encourages young people. That is where most of them are.
Yeah.
So when you start growing your income, you know, you do not stick on the 850 or maybe 1,000. You know, you go with the percentages.
Yeah.
I hear you communicating in terms of 10% savings.
Yes.
So, I mean, when you are getting maybe 10,000 at the end of the month, the other month you've grown your income, you've made 20,000, you do not stick with just the 1,000 you are saving.
Yes.
Let it go to 2,000. So you're trying to educate us to grow our savings. It is not just a figure, stick with the percentages.
Yes.
Maybe what I want to learn today is what are some of these avenues? Actually, there are two questions.
Yes.
When should someone think of investing? You've started your journey of saving. When should someone think of investment? Should it be 5 years, 3 years, 10 years? What is the ideal time? Then the other question would be, what are some of these avenues that are available for us as young people? You've grown your cash savings. You know, what can you really think of saving in? I mean, investing in actually. Yeah.
The type of investment somebody can get into as a small beginner.
Yes,
and
yes.
the things he should look for.
Yes.
Exactly. Good. I think that's a very good question, Enoch. So we are saying two questions. Number one, when should somebody start investments?
Yeah.
And I'd say the big question is, have you started savings? So savings, if you haven't started, you should have started yesterday. That's what we are saying. Yes, investment will take a bit of time because there is the aspect of accumulation. But then for savings, it is important to embark on savings as soon as possible. And we say, like we said, I think in our first program, that there is no right time to save. We save now. Now, this is what happens. It is a culture change. It is a mindset change. The scripture says in the book of Romans chapter 12, be ye transformed. So even, I want you to learn, my viewers, that the blessing of God, money and whatever other resources that come, God expects us to be transformed positively so that we can make a positive change in our generation.
Romans 12 verse 1 and 2.
Yes, Romans 12 verses 1 and 2. So it is important then that if you have not embarked on savings, that you embark on it right away. And this is how to do it. If you're employed, please let it be checked off your payslip so that you gain a discipline. I encourage people who are working to save in their circles. Look for a good circle. I save in 2 circles myself, and the law allows that, you know, and you can save in many other aspects. They are, and you have seen table banking. You have seen our mothers, our sisters doing very well in table banking, where they come together. say every Wednesday afternoon, and they contribute 10,000 shillings each, and that out of that 10,000 shillings, one of them can borrow, say 50% of that money, and they can go on to invest or maybe defray some costs somewhere, which is a very important aspect. So as far as savings is concerned, start as early as now. Now, we said the way to conquer the giant that is spending is a culture change. How do you change culture? Number one, I suggest that you have to be very deliberate. Very deliberate. You have to have gotten to a place, Dr. where you say, I'm sick and tired of always waiting for my paycheck. Yeah? And it doesn't matter how much you earn, you'll be surprised. People who earn 10,000 shillings, they wait for the paycheck. The people who earning a million shillings a month, they are waiting for the paycheck. Yeah? And so it is more of a culture change, mindset change, like we have said, be transformed. It's a prayerful thing that you have to engage in, because there are all factors around us that are meant to not spend our monies very well. And then we are saying, the moment you have embarked on savings, now it becomes an easier journey to get to investment. And investment, we have said, depending on what you're looking to do, then you can take on that investment journey. I'd suggest in periods of like 6 months or 1 year. And those which are capital intensive investments could even end up taking a longer period of time. But so long as the savings is secure, get engaged in asking questions of how, when can I invest? Yeah.
And I think it's very important for people to realize that unless you tighten your belt,
yes,
you will not get anywhere with savings, because many times you'll always feel like you don't have enough.
That's it.
But I always challenge people, if you, assuming today you lost your job, you'll still survive, you'll
Yes,
still live,
you will.
you'll still put on, you'll still eat.
Yes.
How would you do that and you don't have an income?
Sure.
That means you always have some room to make adjustments.
Yes.
With the little that you're earning today, you can purpose to make an adjustment in your spending to actually put something aside, which now becomes the first step towards your investment and your prosperity journey.
Yes.
And I think with that, we are about to just break into our break. And in case you're watching us as a viewer, please send the questions. We are going to take a very short break, and therefore wait for your questions in the second session. And God bless you.
I wrote a book, a powerful book, that is 7 Keys to Success. All of us want to succeed. Nobody here wants to fail. I have no doubt you have a deep-seated desire how to succeed, but you wonder how. There are principles in this book. I call them keys. There are 7 of them that I have elaborated, that I have discussed in this book, and I have no doubt when you read this book, well, you will succeed. Many people have read it and they have come. The other day I met somebody who told me, well, I read your 7 keys to success and I have been teaching from that book. Actually, she's a pastor, and she told me, well, I actually bought several, I have given to my leaders, to my people. You can use it also for teaching and even blessing other people in your family, church, and friends, even your place of work. 7 keys to success. I have no doubt when you read this book, you will succeed. Failure is not your place to be. You can be successful by reading 7 keys to success. Call that number, send a message, and we will respond to you and send you a copy of this book. God bless you, and see you soon. Hello there, and praise be to our God. For the last 21 years, we have been rescuing abandoned babies all over this country. And by God's help, we have been able to rescue now close to 1,000 babies in this country. Well, we thank God for his enabling power. But again, I want to thank all our partners and friends of Happy Life Children's Home that have come alongside us to work with us, to help us to feed these children. Right now we have 61 babies, we have toddlers, we have some in school, we have some in primary school, in high school, school fees, vocational training, and it's not easy, but I want to ask, you can partner with us, you can help one of these children. You can be a monthly partner of any amount, whether you are a student, whether you are working, you are a parent, young people. I want to call upon each one of us. We can do something. Well, I always say nobody has everything, but everybody has something. And at Happy Life Children's Home, we have a saying, you may not change the whole world, but you can change the whole world for one child. We have a pay bill there. I want to ask you right now, please send help for these children. The pay bill is 75512. I repeat again, the pay bill number is 75512. That is 75512. That is the pay bill for Happy Life Children's Home account. You can indicate your name, and we will be more than glad to receive this help for the children, for the many, many abandoned children. Actually, our place is right now full. We cannot even take more. People are abandoning children everywhere. But I want to ask that you can work with us and also become a Happy Life friend, where you can become a monthly partner. If you want to do that, you can send a message or call that number or send a WhatsApp message, and we will be able to communicate with you and tell you how you can become a friend of Happy Life. God bless you. I invite you again, be a part of this journey. For the last 21 years, God has been faithful. You can be part of what God is doing through Happy Life Children's Home, Happy Life Mission, in educating these children and even supporting them with the food, milk, diapers, and everything that they need for their daily living. God bless you, and God bless you. The Bible says, as I close, well, he who gives to the poor lends to God. If you give to the poor, you are lending to God. And God is not a debtor of anyone. He will reward you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Once again to the second part of this program this day. We've been discussing with Dr. Washington Kahoro about savings, investment, and retirement planning. And we had a very wonderful session in the first part. And this second session, we are going to take your questions. But before we do, we had a discussion about the types of investments which are suitable for a beginner, somebody begin the investment journey. And I was just wanted to ask you, what type of things he should a beginner consider when he's starting his first investment, and what is available for them? What can they invest in?
All right, thank you, Daktari. So for our audience, I like to say that we are all coming from different areas, but I want to pick, for example, somebody who is earning 50,000 shillings, whether you are employed or cumulative through business. You're able to at least have a gross of 50,000 shillings. So we said at first is to put aside, and we are better working with a percentage. So let's start at 10%. So you'll be able to put aside about 5,000 shillings. So I want to encourage us that even as we get into savings, into investment, which we shall very, very fast, that first put aside a minimum of 5,000 shillings on a monthly basis. If you're able to put in 5,000 shillings on a monthly basis, then say give yourself about a year. Now, there are so many investment avenues right now. And I want to look at, for example, land. Land is one aspect of investment that many times you never go wrong. Of course, we are assuming that you have done your due diligence when it comes to buying land. I want to encourage us today that it doesn't matter where the land is. Start somewhere. When the bypass was coming up, I remember interacting with someone, the northern bypass, Kamakis and all that. I remember interacting with someone, and they had a plot that was very proximate to the road, and it was only going for about 700,000 shillings at that particular time. It's just a plot, a 50 by 100. Right now, any plot that is just, say, about 100 meters from that road will not be going for anything less than 10 million shillings. So we are saying, and this has been about 20 years, and 20 years is not a long time when we're talking about investment. So one of the areas of investment that we can look at is buying of land. Now, I want to encourage us, secondly, that you don't have to go it alone. We have all these kinds of chamas. If you can come around a few friends, like I gave you in my first example, my second example, where we said you can partner with some friends. Of course, people you are like-minded, people who are around the same age as you are, so that you are able to grow together. Then we're saying if you can have your 180,000 shillings out of your savings and maybe money that you have borrowed, and another one 180. If you are 10 of you, or 10 is too many, maybe if you are 5 of you, then you have raised about 1 million shillings. With about 1 million shillings, you will go to I could name places. Yeah, you could go to Juja Farm. You could go to, even if it is not very near the road, you could go to Kangundo, Mala and all that. No specific place, but I'm just mentioning places where you can find land available at that price. You can go to Matu and be able to secure for yourself land for about 1 million shillings. With land for about 1 million shillings, I can tell you, in another 5 years, you're talking about a serious investment. So that is one. Now, there are also people who are gifted to go into business. You can put up, I see young people who have come together and they have, for example, started a cyber. Yeah, I have seen, and now there is with the way the government is moving and the world is moving today, it is all about IT. I see, have some good friends of mine, some young people. They have come together and they started with 5 computer machines, and they're buying them. You don't even have to go for the new ones. They started with the ones that are going for about 25,000 shillings each. And 5 of them, it's about 125,000 shillings, and they were able to put up a cyber, and through the monies also able to rent space. And I can tell you right now, because I passed by that shop, I find a queue of clients. So that is also another available business opportunity. If you're able to accumulate even a little more, why not even go to selling of items? Yeah, you can buy, I see people going to Kamkunji, yeah, and yes, and Isili, and buying merchandise. And you come and start a shop around where you live, or maybe not even very close to where you live, so long as you have done a bit of your business research and you have realized there is a need. You can have your 60,000, go to Isili, buy a few items, come sell, and do and make a profit, and through that then you are able to accumulate over a period of time. And what I should say maybe at this point is that we have a generation which would want to really just correct, good people, but people who want to make very fast money very quickly. And I want to advise at this point that if you're going to make real money, do not be looking at making it too quickly. Yeah? Just give it a period. When we are looking at businesses, many times our businesses will be breaking even after about a year, 2 years, 3 years. But within that period of time, then you can realize growth so that you're plowing back most of the monies that you're making on a monthly basis. So outside such, but then there are many others. There are many others. I have seen some friends of mine who came together and they bought 2 vehicles that are not very expensive. Now we have Uber business. We have Uber business. You can partner with somebody, buy a vehicle worth 700,000 shillings, 800,000 shillings, and get a way of running that enterprise. There are those who will even import vehicles, for example, at that 1 million shillings, and be able to sell it in a month or two for about 1.2, 1.3 million shillings, which is about a 30% markup. So if you can come together, give yourself time to save, and then say about after a year or thereabouts, 18 months, 24 months, then get into a serious business venture. But I must say at this point that when you are starting your savings journey, it is good to think, what can we do with our money? So that it is not sufficient then to just start savings. You have an end in mind. You're saying, I will start with savings, 5,000 shillings maybe, or 10,000. I'm coming together with Enoch and Dr. Mungai, and this is what we are going to achieve in 1 year. And you can pull that all the way to 5 years, and so on and so forth. So I mentioned a few. I know there are many other business opportunities. Please, for a start, do not be looking at mega businesses. It is good to have a vision, it's good to have a plan, but to avoid disappointments and the pitfalls of people who want to get rich quickly, do not look at mega businesses when you're a startup.
Wonderful. Let's go to the issue of retirement. And I know a lot of young people there are listening to us, and they are wondering, at what point does somebody transition from savings and investments and start to think about doing it for retirement?
Right. Thank you, Dr. Mungai. There are 3 things that we said in our last program. We said, number 1, it is not wrong to think about retirement. It is right. It's correct. Even for young people, it is right to start thinking about retirement. I have now worked for about 20 years. When I go before my mirror, I wonder when I changed. Because I feel myself a very young man. But I've been in it for 20 years. 20 years is not a short period of time. So what do I want to allude to? As we come to thinking about retirement savings, is to say that age does not wait for a king. There is no young age to start retirement savings, and even if you are not so young like me, and probably Dr. Mungai here, you can still embark on that retirement savings journey. So I said, number 1, it is not wrong to save for retirement. If you're saving for retirement, it doesn't mean that you're forfeiting an opportunity to spend your money. Because that is where most of the people are. They are thinking, Washington is talking about me putting aside 10,000, 5,000 shillings, or even 1,000 shillings. I'm being denied an opportunity to go for that weekend out, or that holiday, or whatever it is. We are saying it is a matter of prioritizing. It is a matter of knowing that for sure old age is coming. However young you are today, in another 10 years, you will realize a decade is gone. And I had a discussion. I've had my friends say, just the other day we had President Kibaki. Now we are on to the third president.
Yeah.
After President Kibaki had his own 2 terms, President Uhuru had his own 2 terms. If you think about it critically, those are about 20 years gone. Now we are into another president. So by the end of this term, it will be 25 years. So, and 25 years is a lifetime. You know, for somebody who was born 25 years ago, they probably are thinking about family if if they don't have a family yet. So retirement savings, number 1, is a proper thing to think about. Number 2 about savings, about retirement savings, is that you start as early as possible. The earlier you start to save for retirement, the better. Why do we say that? Number 1, you have a longer time, you have a longer period of time to save for retirement. If you are 20 years today and assume you will retire early at 50 years, that is a whole 30 years. If you are, if that's a whole 30 years ahead of you, even if you save just 1,000 shillings a month for 30 years, cumulatively, without any interest, that is about 3.6 million shillings. If you just put an interest of 5%, 5% for 30 years, your money will have tripled. You'll be talking about a minimum of 10.8 million shillings for 30 years. Now, think about if you can push it to 2,000, to 5,000, to 10,000. And a lot of people have the capacity to save 5,000, 10,000, and yet they haven't started. And we are saying we are not condemning ourselves today. We're saying we are embarking on a journey that we can actually start today and be very successful. So you said the advantage of time if you're young. 2, the other advantage is the ability for your money to compound. In most of the investment instruments that we have, like the retirement savings plans, you realize that they will grow at a certain rate. Most of the retirement funds will grow at a minimum of 5% per annum. Minimum 5%. In fact, most of the insurance companies which run such retirement funds will give a guarantee of 5%. But I can tell you, on average, last year in 2023, most of the insurance companies were able to achieve a minimum of 8%. So the basis at 5% and you have an additional 3%. I want to challenge all of us who have not embarked on a journey, especially the young, that you have a good time, in which you can take a good decision and be able to secure your future. Now, why do we talk about retirement again? We talk about retirement because you are bound to live longer after an active working life than you are in your active life. Why? We're saying today, Washington, if I retire in the next 15 years, I have learnt about health. I have learnt about how to live well. And so I hit the gym, I do my exercise, I avoid foods that potentially could lead me to opportunistic diseases and all that. So say I retire at 50 years. I have another 30, 40 years, God willing. Or even living to 70, even living to 100. And we are seeing increasingly now in places where they have been very interested about their food, the way they live, their lifestyle and all that. People are now living to 90 years. You know, the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine and they were telling me they have, in one of the Asian countries, actually Japan, because they're a good example. They were saying they have almost a crisis. Why do they have a crisis? Because most 90-year-olds are available to work. 80-year-olds are available to work. You can imagine if you retired at 50 or at 60 and you're still active. you still are healthy at 90. You have a long time. Fourthly, for me, we're saying that retirement period can be a disturbing period. Those who will suffer diseases, because it is normal. It is a normal thing. Sometimes you become a victim of chronic diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure, heart failure, and all that. So you find that is pretty a difficult period of time where so much money is spent on either eating well to avoid probably eating food that is going to cost you a little more, or having to spend a lot of money on medicine and not having a very predictable source of income. So it is important today you think about your retirement. It is coming, or it will come. 10 years, 20 years is a short period of time, and before you know, retirement age has hit. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. I think we'll take a few of your questions. We will not be able to take all of them, and Dr. Kahoro will take 2 minutes to try and answer as many as we can. And I have a viewer who is saying, I'm learning. Thanks very much, doctor. I thought savings for retirement was for people nearing old age. He's already answered that. Now you know you can start investing early. And there are 2 questions here I want you to address, and I know you touched on them. John from Roysambu is saying, I get a salary of 25K. How can I invest and still save for retirement? And there's another one which is similar here from Moses. Moses saying, I do casual jobs. How can I save for retirement and be able to buy daily expenses? If you can answer those 2.
All right. I want us to go back to the principle that we talked about in our last episode, the 50-30-20 rule. That should apply all the time, where possible. So with this good gentleman earning 25,000 shillings, so we're saying 50% of your total income should go to your needs. Then 30% should go to your wants. 20% can go to investment, savings, and every other aspect there, including your retirement. So I'll take a practical example. You that is earning 25,000 shillings, if you are able to appropriate your money, then in that ratio, we are saying that you have about 2,500 shillings that is available for retirement savings. Actually, 2,500 shillings. And if you think about it critically, how much do our primary school teachers earn? Even those who are employed by the government, how much do JSS teachers earn? And I can tell you for a fact, if you go up country, you realize that some of the people that have done well, whether it is by building good houses, taking their children to good schools, they are actually teachers and other workers really who do not have necessarily very high salaries, and I say that respectfully. Now, so we're saying, please, listener, put aside, I just took an example, 2,500 shillings. And per month. Yeah, per month. Please be very regular in your savings, and in your, especially in your savings, if you have a regular income. But for those who do not have a regular income, then we're saying that you can also save irregularly, which is okay.
And I think also the cash show here might be earning, let's say, an average might be 1,000 shillings or slightly less a day. If you multiply by 24 days, that's about 24,000, give or take. So he can still try and save 2,000
2,000 shillings.
Okay,
exactly.
You can go on.
Yes. So we are saying it is not necessarily the amount. It is that we adapt a culture. Now, if I had you right, we are asking ourselves, so if you're earning 24,000 shillings or thereabout, how can you still be able to survive and be able to save? So we said, if you have not embarked on the journey of savings and investment and retirement savings now, we're saying it must start somewhere. So start now. Draw a budget. If you have to reduce on your expenditure, please make a deliberate decision to reduce on your expenditure. And I'm going to touch maybe for a minute or two on how to work around your expenditure. So last time we said create a buying record. That means you know that I get my cereals in this and that place, I get my groceries in this and that place, so that you can as much as possible be able to predict how much you'll be able to spend on households and so on and so forth. Now, I know that there are people who have to make drastic changes. Drastic changes would mean things like housing. If you are living today in a house paying 15,000 shillings in a month, and your income is 25,000 shillings, then where you're living is not appropriate. I put it that at that level of income. And note, my viewer, that we can always review later. We can, as our incomes grow, as our investments grow, then we can shift to better places, better neighborhoods, and so on and so forth. But for now, while we are starting, then we are saying be very deliberate to start where you are and make a deliberate effort given a period of time to be able to now change your lifestyle positively after you have been able to save and invest. And we are saying that part of what we could do through our savings is to actually improve ourselves in terms of skill sets. So that today I am saving 5,000 shillings, cumulatively I have saved 60,000 shillings. By the end of the year, I'm able to take out a loan and educate myself. I can pay for a diploma, for a degree, or for a certain skill set that I require that will push me to the next level. I need to study maybe how to run studio business, how to buy machines so that I can rent them out and be able to get an extra income. And by so doing, I can improve on my savings, get further investments, and even probably live in better neighborhoods.
And I think just to add on that, I've seen some people earning those very low salaries who've actually made a conscious decision of saying, instead of me living far away from where I'm working,
yes,
I better move nearer so that I can even eliminate transport.
That's it.
So you actually find somebody, if he's living in working in Roysambu,
yeah,
and has been coming all the way from, might be the other side of town or Kibera or wherever it is,
yes,
and he's taking 1 or 2 buses. He decides, let me relocate where I'm working. So that way,
yes,
he eliminates the element of transport. So there's some things you could do, small things here and there,
yes,
that can give you that extra amount to save.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying that because there's somebody here who is struggling to save, yet when you look at where he's working and where he can actually relocate to, he doesn't want to make that decision because maybe he's attached so much to living in a particular place, in a particular area. So there's some things you can still do. Now, I'm going to Naomi in Gara. Thank you for getting in touch with us. My question is to you, do I still need to consider things like inflation, like it is nowadays, while investing and preparing for my retirement?
Thank you, Daktari. That's a very intelligent question. Inflation is a constant factor. As long as we are alive, there's going to be change in the value of the monies that we have. Whether we are in Africa, we are in Asia, we are in America, it doesn't matter. Inflation will always be a factor of our resources. And therefore, as you're investing, as you're saving, actually one of the things you're doing is to try and handle inflation. Because today with 100,000 shillings, at the end of the year, if I haven't done any savings, I haven't done any investment, then my 100,000 shillings in May or in June that we are almost starting will be actually in value less than what I had 6 months earlier. So please factor in inflation. If you can, inflation can really be an aspect that is beyond us many times. But I think as a country, we are not doing so badly where it comes to inflation. We have seen our inflation stabilize at around 6-7%. And you find for most of the investment, even the short-term securities that we have are giving upwards of 8%, 10%, 11%. I have even seen fixed deposits now going for about 14% on an annual basis. So we're saying, yes, currently as the economy is, we can actually be able to overcome and reap something even as we invest in short-term securities.
Now we have Ruth. Thank you for getting in touch. Ruth is saying, as a couple, is it advisable to save in a fixed account? Our savings for the future and how to be honest with ourselves with our money.
Good. Honesty. Let me start with honesty. I think honesty is one thing that one has to embrace to succeed financially. If you can do it as a couple, that is the best decision that you can. Because what happens in families many times is that they are not able to agree on how to put money aside so that it can be helpful to them either in the short term or in the long term. So if you can come together as a couple, the better. But even if you are not able to come in as a couple in the beginning, please start somewhere, and hopefully your spouse is going to join you along the way, especially when they see you have been very deliberate, you have made deliberate efforts, and they can see, say, from your savings now you have been able to buy furniture in the house, then you will challenge them positively and say, why not save another 20,000 shillings and we'll be able to buy a set of seats or something like that. So principally, it is advisable that you can do that together.
Haron from Githurai, thank you for writing to us. He's saying, how can I ensure I'm not outliving my retirement savings?
Okay, how can you ensure you're not outliving your retirement resources or savings? That's really quite a challenge. It's not very easy to know whether you will outlive because the way the retirement funds function. I want to take an example. If say you have hit the age of 60 and now you have to retire. So what happens is that out of your retirement savings that you had put in a retirement fund, you'll be able to access a third of your savings. Say you had saved 10 million shillings for that kind of an argument's sake. You had saved 10 million shillings. So you'll be able to access immediately after retirement 3 million shillings, that is a third, 30%, and be able to have 7 million spread over a period of time, the remainder. Now, this 7 million balance depends with the choice that you make at the point of converting your savings into an annuity. Now, I'm going to demystify what an annuity is. So, an annuity is a retirement saving that is converted to a monthly income. Okay, so we have said you have taken away the 30%, their third, and you have the 70% remaining. So this one is converted into an annuity that is now going to be available as an income on a monthly basis. But how much is available will depend with the decision that you make. So if you say, I want my money available for the next 5 years, so the annuitants, the people who do that mathematics will come up with a number based on your age and based on your gender. So for males, there's a different rate from the females. So if you choose a shorter period of time after retirement, then you're bound to get more than somebody who chooses a longer period of time. You who chooses 5 years, you will get more than that who chooses 10 years. Now, there is also an option of saying, I will not choose the period of time. So in that state then, we'll have the individual get probably much less, but the money is available until death. Until death. So there are those, I'd say about 3 options. So you have a bold bracket of 5 years, 10 years, it can go all the way to 25 years, and then there's the option of opening it up so that it is available until death.
Okay, I see our time is far much gone, but briefly for 1 minute, David is asking 2 questions I just wanted to just touch briefly. David is saying, I would like to know more about Social Security benefits. Can it really help me during my retirement? And 2, another viewer is asking, is merry-go-round beneficial? Can I say I'm investing in it? Asking for a friend. Briefly.
All right, Social Security, yes, is what we have talked about, planning for your retirement. You can either take what we call an IPP, an individual pension plan if you're not employed, or if you are employed, then we would say you are lucky. You have a starting point if you have a permanent and pensionable job where they put out, the employer has already facilitated the setting up of a retirement fund where they contribute also as you contribute. Most of the company funded retirement plans would work that way. If you are in business, and I assume that most of our listeners are either in business or in places where they are not able to access the retirement funds by company arrangement, then we are saying take your own individual pension plan. It's called an IPP, and basically any insurance company, and most of them will be able to be offering these services. Then you'll be able to save on a monthly basis. The latter part of the question, the viewer is asking whether merry-go-rounds is a good form of investment. I want to say yes and no. And mostly, I want to take it positively. We have seen a lot of our sisters, the ladies, do very well with merry-go-rounds. And how you get help from merry-go-rounds is to be very objective. So we are saying you are not saving for the sake of it. Please do not save so that you can go and enjoy the total monies that you have saved just overnight. Okay? We are saying if you can save, and you're saying out of these 20,000 shillings that I get, I'll be able to buy a cooker. Why not? Yeah. If out of these 50,000 shillings that I have picked, I'll be able to start a small business. Why not? So merry-go-rounds are okay, but they must be very objective. And we have seen a lot of people, including people I know, my own mother, getting a lot of help from a merry-go-round.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Kahoro. Time is not on our side, and I would just want to ask Enoch for just a minute of a parting shot.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Dr. Washington. We are so honored for the information that you've deliberated today. I must tell you the truth is you've really formed our mindset and thought process, because now when you talk about retirement, you are informing our mindset that there is an end to something. You start with an end in mind. It's very important now more so for the young people, because when you look at also the scriptures, somewhere John was trying to write to the young people. He says, I know you guys are strong. You know the scriptures, and you have overcome the evil one. You have the energy. But this energy also has an ultimatum. There is an end to it. Yeah. Imagine at 30, you will not have the same energy you will have at 50. That is when you are entering into retirement. So the energy reduces. So you've tried to really paint a bigger picture for us, that much as we are doing any savings or investment, we should have an end in mind. Retirement is key. You have really literally given us a blueprint to help us navigate this landscape of personal financial management and things like that, knowing that you are saving on purpose, and the purpose is investment. Yeah. It does not end on just saving. So I'm literally very formed, and I'm very excited for the young generation that I must promise you we must have the results. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Enoch. Yes. And Dr. Washington, thank you very much for being with us. Maybe you can give us some parting shot to the viewer.
Good. So to my viewer today, we say there is no correct time to save, as we said, and today I want to reiterate that there is no correct time to start your retirement savings. Start it right away. Time flies. Time doesn't respect any king. So start right away, and you will reap the benefit of a long-term investment period together with the compounding effect. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Dr. Washington. To the viewer, remember the discussion. You have to save, and you're saving so that you can be able to invest that money that is making it grow. And as the money is growing, it's going to take care of you today. And you have to have that long-term objective of thinking about retirement. Remember, it's not too early to think about retirement. It's just basically looking at things in the wrong term. With that, I want to leave you with the word of the Lord saying, may God bless you and may God remember you and bless the work of your hands. Thank you very much and God bless you.